has inspired, young people who have gone to become football stars and become financially viable or become successful sportsmen. And he also has a lot of visions as to how to revitalize football and how to get it well prepared and well equipped. He also had this vision. So these are the two arguments before the the football stakeholders. There is no turning back now. There have to be elections. What I would like to do now is to bring the people up to speed with this election process so that they know that now that there can't be any other option but elections, how are we going to it? Who are the electorates? What is at stage, and what is the process going to look like? We have all these information. And I think this is what I want to tell the public for the time being.
Yeah, well said. I believe that was a very accurate description of the two candidates and the two camps. We're going for a short break. There is a report that was made by Babukar Senghor, our sports editor, on the current situations of Gambian football. When we come back, the telephone lines will be scrolled, the numbers of the telephone lines will be scrolled on the screen for viewers out there to call and have their say on the program. You can also drop me a text message, provided that you called and you cannot get in, on 3821532, 3821532. You can call and ask questions. You can even ask Ibrahima what do they have in store for Gambian football. And also the Mod Musa camp, if they are watching, they can also call and also tell the public. They might not be here, but they still can call and tell the public what they have to offer. So we'll be going for that report. Momentarily, we'll be back with the program.
We began the process of normalizing Gambian football. Back in the spring of 2012, the country's football was somewhat divided. In less than a week, the committee will embark on its final act, leaving behind a football fraternity that are still to find common consensus in building a more viable institution. Gambian football has rarely been in such state, thanks to a plethora of factors and influences which threaten to tear apart an institution that brought so much joy and unrivaled unity in forging a collective direction to achieving what has become an elusive search for football success. But it was never meant to turn out this way, for when the Ministry of Youth and Sports announced the dissolution of the then Gambia Football Association executive in March 2012, the act divided opinion, but football is that emotive game that solely divides judgment. There were those that felt it was the right idea, since the Sidi Kinte-led executive could not replicate the successes of the heady days of the first period of his tenure, when the Gambia's standing in international football soared uncontrollably. That successful period brought another continental conquest, as the under-17 miraculously triumphed in Dar el Beida, winning the country's second continental trophy. The senior team led by Belgian Paul Pot took the country's collective aspirations to new heights with challenging performances in Dakar. Things veered off the rail when 24 months later, the heroics of Dakar were replaced by the disappointment of Windhoek. Kinte and his executive's position began to look untenable and were duly forced to resign for a fresh start. A fresh start, an injection of new and better administration, brought in two of the most influential father figures back in the administration of Gambian football. But the vast majority of the country people were disillusioned by that move. The argument put forward by this group has been firmly placed in the context of continuity and the basis of the legality of the decision. After much wrangling and after many settling between Banjul and Zurich, FIFA came to the rescue. Gambia, after all, would not be suspended by the World Football Governing Body. The July 31st GFF election will certainly mark the end of a turbulent period in Gambian football and the opening of a new chapter, a moment of historic significance when one of two new faces, Steve Biko Football Club's Mustafa Kebe and Modou Musa of Young Africans, aim to become the president of the Gambia Football Federation. The winner will have his hands full with a number of critical issues to tackle, none more so than to pepper the cracks which emerged during the past 16 months and the disagreements which characterized the lead-up to the Adoptive Congress and the one that is surfacing ahead of the 31st July vote. The two candidates have been busy outlining their vision for the new GFF. There are echoes of excitement, and genuine hope in some quarters, but for others, the time is ripe for a complete break from the past and the dawning of a new era in Gambian football administration.
That Gambian football is currently at a crossroads. You are aware that there was a dissolution of the executive, a normalization committee was set up to normalize football. And right now what is being looked at is people that are capable of handling Gambian football. And
it is an open secret that our football is sick at the moment, and they therefore need somebody who has a talent in effectively mobilizing people, building a team, leadership team that is going to shape and change the way our current football, the current status of our football is.
But the Gambia and its football will require a lot more than a carefully choreographed vision. This election is not to choose between Modou Musa and Mustafa Kebe. It is not a forum to end the term of the normalizing committee. This is an election to provide for a complete change in the direction of Gambian football, a significant moment to find a group of people, not an individual, who will collectively map out a complete restructuring of our football. And the cornerstone of this upward movement will center on the institutional and infrastructural development of Gambian football. This is a game-changing moment in our football development, a moment that requires razor-sharp scrutiny of every member of either candidate's team. For Gambian football cannot take one step forward and at the same time backpedal 10 steps up the track. The Gambia Football House, one of the enduring legacies of the most stable years of Gambian football, can only enjoy its past glory when its new occupants are vetted and deemed qualified to run the affairs of the beautiful game in our beautiful country. For Grts Sport, this is Babukar Senghor.
What a wonderful piece that was, Mr. Chairman.
That was an insightful objective.
Yeah, touching on the past, the present, and the future of Gambian football.
I like that.
That is Babukar. He's another...
Very insightful.
Yeah, very insightful. Yeah, viewers out there, you can now see the numbers of the telephone lines on the screens, both national and international. We opening the lines. You can call and contribute while the discussion goes on. I think we already have a caller on the line. Wow. Let's take that caller and then I will come back to you guys. Hello, caller.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Wow, na ngeen def nag.
Jaama rek na nga def.
Waaw jaama rek seen programme bi nee na trop dama kontaan si Lamine Thiam ma kontaan si Ibrahima.
Okay.
man supporter la dama toppal nit ku xam ne da nga bugg a xale understand nga bugg a yóbbu football si kanam. Understand do suma candidate bi dañ ko drop mooy Sidi MB Kinde. So through Sidi MB Kinde moo tax ma tànn suma election bi si président Jammeh. moo ma yóbbu nekkul ni man kenn la but through that Mustafa Kebe laa nekkal léegi because Mustafa Kebe dafa taxaw pour justice. Man I believe in justice. Mustafa Kebe bu ñu jóg ñaari candidate dafa taxaw mu ne loolu warul because lu xew dafa bugg a yóbbu réew mi si kanam because ama justice la ni looy def da nga war a def justice. Understand so si loolu man Mustafa Kebe laa bugga mu yóbbu football bi si kanam. Understand because as far as suma candidate bi kay dañ ko baan kon si Mustafa Kebe laay gis moo mun a yóbbu football bi si kanam. I mean, yow Lamine Thiam ma ñaan sooy demee please nga yóbbu 10 pende ak 100 piece of paper because Mohamed S. Diallo nga yóbbu Grts 10 camera wall kenn nga yóbbu ko mu taw si kamtel abu ko please pour mu na ko ba Serekunda yi yëpp because ñun fu mu nekk nii dañ kontaan man dama ñun ñëpp ñu si gannaaw Mustafa Kebe.
waaw jërëjëf
Mustafa Kebe moo mun a yóbbu football bi si kanam.
waaw jërëjëf
Mustafa Kebe rek leen gis moo mun a yóbbu football bi si.
waaw jërëjëf
ak suma candidat dañ ko baan.
waaw all right
kooku noonu sax dama ko bugga because ñu bari lañ yóbbu pour ñu support APRC.
waaw jërëjëf dégg nañ sa
APRC pour yaa jënde dama ko bugga léegi Mustafa Kebe laa nekka.
waaw all right
ok sorry balal ma 1 minute si club si ñu xam ne yéen ñoo amee vote pour vote si presidency please moo leen di ñaan seen vote si koo xam ne jaay nga sa vote si yaakaar naa police yi ñu ngi sédda ñu ngi déglu please koo xam ne jaay nga sa vote si because FIFA sax moo ko taral waroo ate football waroo jaay sa vote sax because FIFA moo ko taral please koo xam ne jaay nga sa vote pour yaa ngi uti federation please ma leen di ñaan please